So welcome to our film talk. Um, with me today is Michael, a good friend of mine,
Hi.
and I'm Joshua. So we've watched Tenet yesterday, and first off, did you kind of recover from the movie? Did your ears
Uh,
recover?
well, hard to say really. I thought about the movie a bit while, um, I guess just have living my normal life.
Yeah, you really did. Like,
A
I don't
bit.
know. I kind of forgot about it a little bit until
Yeah.
today, and I know
And
that
then yeah, you
I
go
know that
first.
I know that I said that I want to watch like a Tenet explained video on the internet or something.
Yes.
But I actually did, and dude,
Oh,
I'm going to tell you what it was all about, and your mind will be blown away.
oh,
Like
dang.
it's
Okay.
crazy. So yeah,
I thought we
let
would be, I thought it was like us both like dissecting the movie together. But okay, this is also a very
yeah,
interesting
but
angle.
look, we only have a limited amount of information. I mean, we didn't even understand half of the dialogue, so I
Yeah,
think we would be tapping in the dark quite
yeah.
often.
True.
Um,
So to our viewers, we're both not native English speakers,
no, we're
and
not.
it was very clear in the movie, be- because yeah, when they just rambled, we couldn't understand a thing, and we would look at each other like, "Dude, what
Yeah,
did they
but
say?"
but I
Yeah,
think our English is decent enough to understand the dialogue if it were like not overshadowed by the sound.
yeah.
Because the major problem was like the sound in the background. Uh, the score sometimes
It was just really
was,
overbearing, right?
yeah, really. And
Yeah,
they inserted the score sometimes really inappropriately, like for no reason. They would
yeah.
just
It
put
felt very intense for no reason.
intense, yes, yes. Um, but what about our first impressions? Let's start with our first impressions.
Well, I think I was just really frustrated after I left the movie. I thought, okay, I really want to like this movie. It it had some spectacular action scenes. The idea itself, as far as I understand, is pretty neat,
Mm-hmm.
even though I didn't think it was explained the best way possible.
Yes,
And it was just character-wise, fell completely flat for me. Like, uh, can we talk about spoilers?
of course. This is
Okay. Okay, this is a
spoiler
spoiler talk.
talk. Yeah.
Okay, click here if you want to skip the spoilers, right? No, but I mean, essentially, the world is ending because of this one guy that wants to commit suicide, this Russian dude. And I don't
Mm.
know, I just didn't feel the weight of the situation because I didn't connect to any of the characters, as you said
Yeah,
yesterday. Yeah.
absolutely.
So it was
Oh.
just really a mixed bag. I mean, presentation-wise, it was glorious, just
Mm-hmm.
with very questionable sound mixing, and yeah, I mean, even the score itself, it was very, very good. I
It
find,
was very good, and it
yeah,
kind of fit the movie's tone.
yeah, it did.
It's like it has like a how do you say it? Like this is obviously like a spy film, a heist film, and
Kind of, yeah, it has that like
you
feel to
know,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
there's nothing like very I mean, we are not stealing something. It's more like saving the world, but it still feels like a heist movie.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think you said once that Heat had an electronic like soundtrack as well. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I mean,
And
the soundtrack is from Moby, and he's like a very famous electronic music artist.
yeah, and I don't know if this was intentional or if Heat kind of inspired some
Oh,
parts of this movie,
okay.
but um, the look um kind of resembled the look in Heat a little bit. Like Heat had this bluish tone to it, like this cold, distancing tone, and Tenet kind of had it as well. Like I had some Heat vibes there, and Nolan in The Dark Knight was
Hmm.
inspired by Heat as well. It's quite
Oh, okay.
interesting. Like he's obviously a huge fan of Heat, and
Hmm.
you
I mean,
can
who isn't?
yeah, right. But the difference is Heat had some had characters that you could connect
Yeah.
with
I mean,
somehow.
Al Pacino
Yeah.
and Robert De Niro. I mean, it's really just a very great character. Those were really great characters, and they
Yeah.
played off one another very well. They complemented each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean, yeah,
yeah, no, go on.
yeah. I mean, I guess I can kind of see it a bit. For example, with like the whole car chase thing that we have in
Yeah,
Tenet.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe because both like I mean both Michael Mann and Christopher Nolan aim for a fairly realistic style there,
Yes.
but I don't know if I would compare them as much because he just felt more. I mean, as I said, I feel like Tenet feels more like a plot-driven movie, and
Yes,
while
absolutely.
Heat is more of like a character-driven one for me,
Heat
where
feels much more like visual. It had
yeah, and it had just more of a style. Like
yes,
Christopher
yeah.
Nolan is very, as you said, feels really pragmatic and also just like his ultimate goal is to make it as realistic as possible, which is why you can't
Mm.
understand how part of you can't understand the dialogue sometimes because frankly it's mixed as if you were there. But yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting as well. The
yeah,
funny
he just
thing is, he kind of immerses you with his ambience, like his sound, um, the soundtrack, the sound design, and
mhm.
then he kind of he distances himself from you, like with exposition. And I think what destroys most of the immersiveness of the immersion is his like really tedious exposition sometimes.
I mean,
Mm,
was it
but
though? Because for us, I mean, sometimes we couldn't understand the exposition here. That was our problem, right? I mean, of course, partially, yeah, of course. If you just let the characters say exposition to explain it to the characters, you can't really then connect with them.
yeah, and sometimes I think he doesn't really construct characters. He like constructs like templates, and we
Caricatures.
yes, and not really caricatures because caricatures often stand for something, but he kind
Yeah,
of
okay.
creates templates that we the audience fill. Like if you look back at Dunkirk,
Yeah.
like these were not characters.
Right,
These were
right,
like an extension of the audience. Like
right.
he wants us there. He wants us to
Mm,
experience World War II, and
yeah. The characters were generic enough such that you could like feel like you were in their
yes.
shoes.
And what's
Yeah.
interesting is, I mean, film as a medium, um, kind of it's hard in film to really uh, make the audience feel as though they were there, as though they're there,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because everyone who's watching a film is aware that they're watching a film,
Right.
and so like uh, directors, you tend to kind of achieve immersion by um, by constructing characters that we can identify with. And Nolan is like the complete opposite. Like he completely neglects this fact.
Kind
And
of, yeah. I guess. I mean, frankly, I mean, Interstellar, like, it works with
yeah,
Matthew McConaughey when he's like, he really cares about his daughter, but he has this dichotomy that he has to like save the world. I mean, somewhat save the world. I mean, they are doing this interstellar travel or
Mm.
whatever, to like find another inhabitable planet for humanity to survive, right?
Yeah, like I think we agreed yesterday that Interstellar is probably his most human film, like most
Yeah,
human film.
at least of
Maybe
the ones we've seen, I think,
I
right?
think we've seen most of his films.
Well, I haven't seen Prestige or Insomnia yet,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah. Me neither when it comes to Insomnia, but yeah, Prestige is pretty. It's based on like it has a really grounded human level as well.
mhm.
It deals with like human instincts like greed and stuff like that. It's quite interesting. I would
All
even
right,
go as far as to say that Prestige is a character study,
okay.
something that Nolan hasn't done since Interstellar. Maybe I don't know if Interstellar can be considered a character study.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know if I would go that far.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think Interstellar is a character study really.
yeah, why
If I
not?
think of character study, I always think of like smaller films, more
Well,
self-contained films.
I mean, think
Yeah,
about, I guess, I mean, recently we had the Joker, even though I haven't watched it. We
yes,
had,
yes. Oh my
we
God.
had, we had, oh, what was the Jake Gyllenhaal film again?
Oh,
Nightwalker. Oh, no, was it
Nightcrawler,
called Nightcrawler?
Nightcrawler.
Right, it's
Yeah.
Nightwalker.
That'd be a cool
Nightcrawler.
name as
That
well.
that would be a very cool name. So
Uh,
if any directors somehow want to listen to dudes talk about films and hey, you want to make a movie called Walker, go for
Nightwalker,
it. And
yeah.
yeah, we would see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Um, so it's funny how you. Okay, let's dive into like
Okay,
the
let's
theory.
focus on the
Okay,
film. Okay,
okay.
so
So it's funny that you mentioned before how like um uninterested Nolan was in creating his characters, and that they're like that the character of the mother of the woman character was
yeah,
kind of uh, only there to serve the purpose of kind of creating an emotional bond that didn't really exist either, and
yeah.
and yeah, oh my god, I need to save my son and that.
I
And
don't think any of us bought that.
okay, wait, are you ready for the theory?
All right.
I think it's gonna blow your mind. So
Okay.
um
So start from like the beginning, okay? Because like, just you know,
okay, uh,
yeah,
so there are rumors that Neil, so Robert Pattinson's character,
right.
is actually the
The
son.
son.
Yeah. Wait, you thought about that?
Yeah, I thought about that during the film.
Damn, holy shit. You're a genius. No, but
I don't know.
it kind of makes sense in hindsight because like you
Yeah, it
know
would.
how in the end Robert Pattinson says, yeah, for you it's just the beginning of the friendship,
Well,
and for
for
me
him,
it's
it's
like the end.
the end. Yeah,
And if we look back at the final shot where like I think it's John David Washington's character, so the protagonist
yeah.
looks at the woman and his son,
Hmm.
and it like then cuts to black. So suppose that he kind of gets together with the woman and they raise his son,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the friendship that unfolds between Robert Pattinson's character and the protagonist.
Mm.
So and in the beginning we know that the dude that saved the protagonist's life multiple times is actually like Robert Pattinson's character. So
Okay.
and there,
Well,
and the timeline in general is really perplexing. Um,
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to start like
see,
from the
wait.
chronologically and from the beginning and everything. But just
Okay, okay.
another.
Let's start chronologically from the
Okay,
beginning.
I just want to say one thing. It's
Yes.
kind of also interesting that like Robert Pattinson's character then mentions also like the grandfather's paradox,
Yeah,
as
syndrome.
if
No, 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 not syndrome. Wait. Yeah, the
yeah, not
paradox.
syndrome, yeah,
The paradox.
as if like okay, if you kill your own grandfather, so if you go back into the past and kill your
Yeah,
own grandfather, will you even be there to commit the crime, to
yeah,
commit that? And it's kind of interesting then that like Patterson is that committed to like save our main protagonist.
yeah. He's like
Yeah,
his personal bodyguard somehow,
yeah.
and
It's like he's kind of preventing the paradox from happening,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
otherwise the Indian woman, I don't know her name, but the
Yeah, let's call it her. Let's call her the Indian woman. I think that's fine.
okay, I guess her name is Priya, if I'm
Yeah.
looking
Do
correctly
you have
right
the
now.
Wikipedia page
Yeah,
open?
yeah.
All
Sorry,
right.
man.
Okay.
Yeah. Not the best source, but yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
time
fine though. It's
only.
fine.
Yeah. So
Um.
Priya wanted to kill like Robert, I guess the woman, the mother with her son, and yeah, I mean that would explain a lot, I guess. If Robert
Yes.
Pattinson was the son, he would want Neil to live.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not Neil, the protagonist to live. Sorry. The protagonist, God.
So pretentious.
It's kind of
Yeah.
pretentious.
But I Nolan did it in Inception as well, just more subtler. Just subtler, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it does have like in retrospect,
Mm-hmm.
Inception does feel like a movie that's also a bit meta about like um just how we as the audience interact with the film.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, if we go like chronologically, there are
Yeah.
actually small details that hint at this relationship between Neil and the protagonist.
Okay.
Do you remember when they were in Mumbai and the
Yeah.
protagonist
You mean like
meets
the
meets oh damn meets Neil for the first time, right?
yeah,
Did
right.
you notice that Neil kind of knows what what the protagonist doesn't like?
Oh,
You know, like he
yeah,
wants to order a
right.
drink, and Neil says, "No, you don't like this." Like he kind of knows him
Yeah,
already in advance. And
right.
when the protagonist tries to explain to him the time inversion mechanic, Neil just like uh, kind of acts as though he knows it already. Like, yeah, it's not a big thing. He's not like mind blown or something.
Yeah,
That's quite
you're right.
interesting. That's quite
It
interesting.
is. It's like
And
another, to be honest, it gives me like a bit of Arrival vibes if I think about it
oh
now
my god, yes,
with the
yes, yes.
time aspect, right? So I guess spoilers for Arrival and Tenet.
The
um,
spoilers for every movie that
just
appears in
even
this
those,
talk.
yeah, even those that we haven't watched yet, of course.
Yeah.
uh,
um.
I mean, just like in Arrival, right? So at the beginning, I think at the beginning we see like Jeremy Renner with like the oh, what's her name?
Amy
Uh,
Adams.
yeah, Amy Adams. Like we see them be parents together at the beginning, right? So like them getting together, having a child
Wait.
at the beginning,
Do
right?
we actually see Jeremy Renner? I don't think we
Oh,
see
oh,
him.
that could right. That could be it. Like that we didn't see him. Like yeah. Otherwise, we would like
Yeah. Otherwise, we
probably
would kind of
spoil
know.
the whole movie. Yeah.
Yes.
But my point is just we in Arrival we are seeing the future at the beginning, and
Yeah.
at the
Like.
end it all just culminates in the fact that she chooses to like live this life where she will inadvertently lose her child, and that she still commits to like this relationship and
Yeah,
her
like
child.
right, she like submits to living the experiences instead
Yeah,
of like valuing the ultimate outcome.
yeah, exactly.
Like, and how will it's so simple at its core, but it's so effective. It's
Yeah,
man, Arrival is a fucking great movie.
I I love Arrival. It made me
We need
cry
to
at
rewatch it
at the
someday,
end.
man.
Yeah, yeah. But
It,
yeah, I just find it interesting, like this time aspect.
mm-hmm.
Kind of reminded me of Arrival and like Tenet. If we now talk about this one theory, yeah,
But in Tenet, it's much more like obfuscated. It's really hard to kind of um, what's the
it's not
word?
obvious,
Yeah,
right?
it's absolutely not obvious.
Yeah,
Uh, we have to decipher it, and the process is fucking.
yeah.
It's very difficult. But let's get back to Tenet. So
Okay,
one issue or one like event that we didn't really understand was how if you revert time, you kind of experience everything around you backwards while you're progressing linearly, like forwards.
right.
And then we didn't understand how it was possible to basically perceive the environment and oneself basically
Forwards.
forward. So
Yeah.
I kind of think that I have a solution for it, but
Okay.
I'm not sure. So what happens if you like the doors that kind of basically if you enter it you
Yeah, where you
like
get
revert.
reverted, right?
Yeah,
Inverted, right?
inverted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the
What
movie,
happens
right?
if you like enter like the door twice? So you
Isn't it
basically
then like,
normal again,
yeah, I guess it's like an
but
identity then, I guess. Like an identity function. This thing is like a black box, right? Like a
yeah, we don't
black
know
box
what
function.
it kind of does. But just
Yeah.
imagine, um, in the last act where the woman travels, or you could say quote unquote travels back to the time where they were in Vietnam. They could have done
Was
it
it
like
Vietnam?
this. It was Vietnam, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did right. Like no things like this were so I don't know.
Yeah, it was overshadowed by the sound, but the
Everything
location
was
didn't
overshadowed,
matter.
yeah. It didn't matter, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So now imagine they were on the boat, right? On
Right.
this yellow ship, and
Mm-hmm.
they were progressing forward in the past. So they were like reverted, right? Like they were traveling back in time. You know what I mean?
Wait, so like their past selves went into the forward direction, right? So why would
No, 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 wait.
they
They
be
were
inverted?
inverted. They were just inverted
Who
on the
were
ship.
inverted? They were
Uh,
inverted on the ship.
on the ship when they were on the sea, and they
Yeah.
like concoct their plan. So
Oh, you mean? Oh, I thought you mean like in the when the woman already faces like the antagonist, like this.
no, no,
Uh,
no, no, no.
okay.
So
Yeah. Okay.
imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that makes sense now. So imagine
Okay. Okay.
you're like inverted, and you're
All right.
progressing in the past while the past basically regresses. So then you'll hit the point in time where, for example, from the woman's perspective, where
Oh,
you
so they're
basically
basically
reached the point in time
no.
where they were in Vietnam. Okay, and
Right. 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 Right.
upon
Okay.
reaching this point in time, they basically inverted themselves again
Mm-hmm.
to progress like
To perceive time
linearly.
normally.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
right. I
So
think that's how they did it.
So basically, they instead of like directly time traveling, they're just reverting so much that they're already back in the past again.
Yes, right.
And then you're, oh, okay,
That makes sense, right?
right, that would make sense. Yeah,
So what actually then happens is you have like several timelines,
right.
right? Because every time you kind of invert, um,
Yeah,
so what? Imagine the inversion stage. Well, while you're inverted, you're like in a substage. So you're like in between two timelines.
you
Um,
gotta repeat that, man.
so all right. Just imagine you're like perceiving time linearly. Like everything is normal, right? You have
Right,
one
right.
timeline. Then you
Yeah,
decide to invert the time, right? You decide to go through the door.
yeah.
Um,
And
then
then you
you're
like travel. Basically, you go back to the
you
past.
travel back
Yeah,
while your previous self, like before entering the door,
yeah.
um, your that previous self advances further in that previous timeline, you know?
So are we talk? I mean, okay. So basically, you're first in the past, then you decide to go through the door, then you get inverted, right? And
Then
when
you
you
get inverted,
and then
but
you progress back.
you progress
But
back, and
but
while you're
at the
inverted,
simultaneously, of course, there's still the past you that would go linearly. Or what are you?
yeah,
What do you
yeah,
mean?
right.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I mean. So
yeah, exactly.
and while you're inverted, you're like in a substage. So you don't necessarily create a new timeline, but you can create a timeline when you, for instance, travel back to a point in time and basically invert yourself again. So then you're basically in the past and you're progressing in the second timeline. So you basically created two timelines.
So you did you just describe what like the woman at the end did, or
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
describing
yeah,
what the woman at the end did,
yeah,
and
yeah,
so
exactly.
there basically exist two women, right?
Yeah, yeah, right. But one is like
One,
is like quasi from the future,
yes,
right?
yes, and
Okay, the thing is, now I have to ask, um, how do you go back into the future? Like, you
I
can't.
think you can't go back, right?
So like, both women just coexist,
Yeah, they kind of coexist.
and she now has to live with the fact that she will never see her son again, because the other woman, the other the other past self of hers, will be
Yeah,
with her son.
probably. And the thing
What?
is,
Oh God.
and the thing is, um, the two women kind of live separately. That means they both have their own consciousness, and we were just following the consciousness of the woman that basically traveled into the past. So for that woman,
Yeah.
uh, for that woman, the ending was joyous. And for the woman, we didn't actually follow that basically stayed in the original timeline. Um, for that woman, the ending was kind of yeah
Okay, but okay,
open.
wait.
We didn't know what happened to her, and
So if I understand correctly, like the woman we are following throughout the film is like the one. It's like the one that at the end doesn't get the happy ending. It's like the one that gets like the open ending, right? Or am I mixing up things?
that's a good question.
I mean, at the end we can see her with her
Son, yeah,
son, like both living happily ever after, basically. Um, yeah, I mean, that must be her past self, right?
yeah, that
Yes.
must be her past self. So the movie kind of blurs the line between past and present because do you remember in the opening scene was it the
Yeah.
opening scene? When we follow
You mean like the opera, or which opening scene exactly?
Oh God, I can't even remember it exactly.
The opera?
Oh yeah,
Really?
the
I mean,
opera, but no, the opening.
oh
There
yeah,
was there a scene with the woman, um, driving to the yacht.
driving to the yacht. Let me remember. Let me think. I don't think so.
Because if there was a scene, um, the woman probably saw how her past self, um, dived into the water. No, this
That,
makes no sense.
oh man,
Yeah,
I'm just fine.
wait, it's
I'm
fucked
already
up, man.
finding it. I know already finding it confusing that they basically. I mean, essentially they're going back in time, right? So
Yes.
they're like changing the timeline where they kill during like the honeymoon period the main antagonist, and then they are changed, and therefore have changed the timeline, I guess, right?
Yeah, they killed the
So
protagonist in the past,
the
technically.
the antagonist,
Yeah, the antagonist. I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah. So, but all of these things still happened
Um,
in that, like, of course, we've changed the past, right? So, like, the
future must
you
change as well. Like
yeah, technically,
there, yeah.
right?
Um,
So, is this like a Avengers Endgame situation where no, it doesn't change your future or something? I don't know
oh
what
my
they
God,
said in
it's so much
Avengers.
more
I forgot.
complicated than what happened
Yeah,
in Endgame.
yeah. I mean, in Endgame, they were basically like, "Yeah, no, it doesn't,"
Yeah.
which I respect, and I also respect the fact that Nolan doesn't try to like make any explanation for the grandfather's paradox, as Pattinson's character says. Yeah, that's why it's a paradox. We don't know.
Dude, luckily. And oh my God,
Yeah, he doesn't
the
need to explain that. That would be mumbo jumbo
yes.
bullshit.
Um,
Yeah.
you know how in the end, Neil basically kind of says goodbye, says farewell to the protagonist.
Right.
Um, and that's because he actually, so the theory says that he then in reverts, like goes back in the past and takes a
Okay.
bullet for the protagonist. Like, do you remember when they first entered this underground cell where the bomb is
Yeah.
located? There was like a
Yeah.
corpse lying on the ground.
Uh huh.
And that corpse is fucking Robert Pattinson's uh,
Oh,
character.
okay.
Yeah, because
I
the future,
if
so the future Robert Pattinson, he reverts back in time and takes a bullet for the protagonist in
mhm.
the end. Like,
Okay.
what the fuck?
Yeah, I found that whole scene like we basically we see the main protagonist like confronting like the villain's henchman, right?
Yeah,
When he basically wants to end the whole world. Um, but yeah, at the same time we see like shots of Robert Pattinson's character like driving back, going back to the present to help them, like reinverting himself to get back normal.
yeah,
And also at the same time, he sacrifices himself by getting that bullet. So that's what you're saying.
basically, yeah. So
Holy
he's
frick,
creating so many fucking timelines.
dude! I think we need like a spreadsheet and like a whiteboard
Yeah,
for this.
this is fucking yeah. I don't know, man. What what was going on inside Nolan's
Yeah,
head? This is really perplexing.
it
Uh,
is.
do you want to talk a little bit about the technical aspects of the movie? Because I think these were like
Okay.
the real
Yeah. Okay.
standouts of the film, like kind of the
I mean,
merits.
do you have any behind the scenes information about it? Because I'm so clueless as how they did it.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
actually didn't look it up. Yeah, we
Yeah.
should do it really because we're
It's
still yeah we
It's
don't.
amazing.
It's really amazing how how they manage to shoot those scenes.
Yeah, like
Oh,
okay, for anybody who didn't watch like the movie and still wants to hear us talk about it for some reason, basically they, as we've described, you can like go back into the past in like the not non-forwards direction, so like back, and yet so all the other things around you that are happening in the present seem reverted
yeah,
because you're going back in the past, and it's really interesting as to how Nolan incorporates it in scenes, and you know just all this magic that's behind there. It's amazing. Yeah.
yeah. And you said yes. Oh, you yesterday you made the comparison between the hallway fight scene in Inception
Right.
and the it's actually also a hallway fight scene, but not a
Yeah.
rotating
Technically.
hallway. But
Yeah. It's like a different gimmick.
yeah,
I
it's a
feel.
different gimmick. So there's always like something special to Nolan films.
Yeah. Like
Um,
even though we both found the movie probably a bit frustrating, I
yeah,
think we we can say that we were bored or not challenged.
yeah. I
I
mean,
think yeah.
um, so the choreography was stunning because
It was, yeah.
it was like two people fighting each other, but one's like progressing, the
Right.
other's regressing,
Regressing, I guess. Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's
into
just
like in two
amazing.
perspectives, right?
Yeah, like both. If in the movie we will see later that one of these supposed henchmen they're fighting during the airport scene turns out to be like our protagonist, and it's kind of cool. Then we see like the first we see the perspective of like our main protagonist in the past, so
Yeah,
like we see everything linearly, but we also see everything like in the backwards direction with like his um future self, and it's kind of amazing because like the action scene makes sense in both directions,
yeah.
right?
And the thing
That's the
is,
amazing part.
we actually see both action scenes. From both perspectives, we see it linearly
Yeah,
because it's all
exactly.
about perception. And
Yeah.
what's so like fascinating about this scene is it's actually a huge payoff for like the beginning, for its counterpart in the beginning, because
Yeah.
like Nolan basically throws the question into the room, okay, who is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And this question is answered later on. It's like how do you say it? It's like god you get this reward in the end, like okay, now
Oh,
everything
you
kind of
meant
makes
okay.
sense. So
Payoff. It's a
yeah,
payoff.
it's a payoff somehow. So
Yeah.
it's
It's like a good setup and
yeah,
payoff thing.
exactly.
Not
And
to talk about comedy, but that's exactly what just happened in the
yeah.
movie. I mean,
And
yeah.
Robert Pattinson in the beginning kind of lets him go as well,
Mm-hmm.
and he tells the protagonist that he shouldn't shoot the guy because he knows that he's fighting himself.
Yeah.
Like,
I, I mean, it's weird when you're like if you look at the first scene, right? That's happening, you're questioning yourself, okay, why does Robert
yeah,
Pattinson just let him go?
um, you're
Right?
kind of
Like they are not fighting each other. And yeah, in the second scene you then get the reveal that he actually sees that
yeah,
it is the main protagonist. Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
wish they addressed more why he wouldn't tell the main protagonist about this.
I think it's because mm, that
I mean, he said that
there was
he
a
doesn't want
line
to.
there was a line
Yeah.
in the movie, and basically the theory kind of expected the audience to ask this question, and the theory basically addresses a line in the movie that says ignorance is ignorance is our ammunition, like secrecy is the number one priority, because if you were
Okay.
to tell someone what will happen in the future,
Hmm. They would
they would kind of
they would behave differently.
they would behave differently.
This future wouldn't exist.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's if I remember correctly, that's also Neil's explanation of as to why he didn't say it. But yeah, I don't know.
It's really interesting.
It is.
So we both weren't blown away, or simply put, we weren't
It was expected.
captivated by the cinematography, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of expected at this point. It was kind of expected that it will be a mindfuck film. It was kind of expected that Nolan does like his stuff. He likes the craft. He likes it to look realistic. And yeah, I don't know. It
Yeah.
wasn't too surprising. Yeah. But it was still very interesting. It was an interesting experience, nonetheless.
So, well, Nolan actually indulges himself sometimes in the science fiction realm, and science fiction is known to be not grounded.
It's a good playground, to play with
it's a
ideas.
playground, yeah. But it's funny
yeah.
It's quite ironic that Nolan opts for a more realistic approach.
I mean that's his shtick, right? Like with the Dark Knight films as well. After the Batman and Robin, what was that, like the last Batman film before Batman Begins came out? I think so, something like that. And
yeah, for sure. But Batman can so the Batman trilogy could potentially, so I can imagine the Batman trilogy taking place in our world somehow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
but
as I said, like,
for instance,
this is Nolan's shtick.
Yeah, but if you look at Interstellar, and that's just beyond like insanity. Some parts of this movie, I mean, the plot at times, and
it's just another big.
It seems like a fucking fairy tale, and yet
at some points, yeah, I guess. I wish, but okay, if it were a fairy tale, frankly, they would have made the worlds more interesting, right?
But the world is
those are fairly. It's an interesting world. I mean, the whole thing with the black hole, it's really amazing to see that. But I mean, like, the planets themselves weren't all too cool. I mean, they basically had like one landscape, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was the ice planet. There was this whole like water planet that had these big waves. I don't know. It's been a while since I saw that movie.
Yeah, me too. What should we?
I get what you mean, to some extent. I mean, Nolan also, like, he didn't give Hans Zimmer, who like scored the film, the actual script. He just gave him this like very endearing.
He gave
father
him the core.
Father.
The core of the
film. Kind of the core of the film, which is like this father and daughter relationship.
Yeah, instead of the son, a daughter.
Yeah, he exists as well, right?
What I'm getting at is that the cinematography wise, Nolan kind of works against his ideas somehow, because many of his ideas aren't realistic. Yet he tries.
I mean, they are so fantastical, but he still tries to ground them.
Yeah, he
still
tries to ground them. He kind of I think that's kind of his thing, his urge. I believe he knows.
He tries to ground like he tries to ground like these fantastical ideas.
Yeah, he knows that some of his ideas aren't realizable, like they're not gonna take place really.
Mm-hmm. It's like a what if.
Yeah, right? What if? But he still kind of forces this idea into our heads and tries to make it as realistic as possible. So
yeah, I just feel like Nolan he has its ideas, and his ideas are sometimes very cool. Um, but okay, like, have you seen the movie Paprika?
By Satoshi Kon.
Right, right.
No, I haven't.
So,
But
oh,
it's
okay.
like I heard that
It's
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 a big inspiration for Inception, right?
probably right. It's both of these films deal with like dreams and doing some sort of thing in a dream of somebody else
Yeah.
to describe it as vaguely as possible. And I just feel like Nolan is just not the most imaginative person to go about some of these things. He's more the like a very pragmatic and like
Yeah, he's a real
fact-driven
craftsman.
person. Yeah.
How much so how many stunts do you think were actually like practical, and how many were like supported by VFX?
I mean, you mean percentage-wise or just
No, yeah, just very
like
coarsely, like the majority, the minority. I mean,
I think
the
the
film didn't.
majority,
The majority, all
yeah.
right, because the film
The,
really
oh,
didn't have that many
I thought the
action scenes.
majority would be okay, your question was like, was it more were the action scenes more done like in the post production with like CGI or whatever,
Yes,
or
right.
was it more like crafted?
Yeah.
Then I would say actually more handcrafted, right? And like later edited.
Yeah, I would
I mean,
say
of course, I don't.
yeah.
Maybe 50-50. I don't know. I don't know how they did that with the whole time reversing thing. As I said, like time reversing
Yeah,
and
why?
the human interacting linearly.
But I don't consider this gimmick like
As a okay, yeah, it's not
as
an
an
action
action
scene,
scene.
yeah,
What I mean by action scenes like are those big
yeah,
set
yeah.
pieces.
I know what you mean.
Like the movie overall didn't even have that many truly big action scenes.
Yeah, I
I
mean
mean
we both.
the car chase sequence felt surprisingly, like I don't know how many times you want to say the word realistic, but it felt really realistic and grounded.
Yeah, I mean
And hence it
it's
wasn't that
just
spectacular in my opinion. He didn't really
yeah.
have to blast the soundtrack that much. Um
Mm,
because the soundtrack kind of indicated something much more bigger, and we didn't really get
yeah.
it. And the plane
hmm
sequence was,
To be honest, I was kind of disappointed.
dude, like, come on, you don't have to
You have a
crash a
plane and you
fucking plane into a building to destroy some art, destroy some painting and get to the
yeah, and
door.
if you do it, make it more interesting. Like
Yeah,
the whole thing was basically drove in, and some of the turbines exploded.
yeah,
It wasn't even a very big fire or like you know some big explosion. So yeah, he tries to make it as grounded as possible, because of course, I mean we all know all these explosions in those movies. They wouldn't be as big, but
yeah.
it's still fun. And I think not to say that
It's pretty
Nolan doesn't
fun.
like
It's pretty
fun.
fun.
Not to say that Nolan is not a fun person, but he prefers it to be a bit more realistic, and that's sometimes to his detriment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a bit like I don't know, like his sound. Like he really likes that broom sound, and he knows
yeah.
that people he knows that he annoys people with the sound, with the overuse of the sound.
You mean
But
like basically the sound that started by
yeah,
Inception?
right. That basically
Yeah,
changed the entire movie trailer industry.
yeah, yeah,
He's on that front a little bit like Tarantino, because Tarantino just likes doing his own thing. Like he doesn't care what other people say, and many
yeah.
directors are like that. And Nolan is in that category as well,
Yeah,
because yeah,
I don't
exactly. Who the
I don't
fuck
think
starts a scene with like
an opera
brum
and
and
yeah, just an immediate. I don't know. I had to laugh in the theater when like the opera starts, like the conductor,
Yeah, and he gets shot.
It gets instantly shot while he wants to play the music, and it's like, okay, this is now an action scene, and we end in a
Yeah.
blockbuster
I
movie.
mean, it sets the tone
Yeah.
for the movie pretty well.
Yeah,
Pretty good
it's
as well.
it's to be honest, it's a bit over the top and drastic, but
A
for
bit,
my
yeah.
taste. But yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody disagrees with the fact that Nolan is somebody who has his own vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And deep
Like,
inside, I think he's just like a kid. A kid who likes to play with the stuff that makes him most joyous.
right.
And I mean,
Yeah.
sort of, it's his trademark, sort of. So,
What exactly do you think his trademark is?
like the overbearing sound. He often likes to the sound often carries the momentum of the film, and
Yeah,
I would even go as far as to say that the sound sometimes dictates your emotions. Because in that opening scene, like, my heart was literally kind of beating very fast.
I hope it was beating though.
Yeah, it was beating very fast.
Okay.
Because of the overbearing nature of the sound, and because of the sound itself.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of Nolan's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Nolan's thing to have like this music that is very like
And say what you
rhythmic
want.
and
It
just yeah,
it's pretty cool, kind of. His films are always cool.
Yeah, I
Objectively
mean,
speaking.
also like the costumes with
Yeah.
all of these freaking suits.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's slick. It's looking very
slick. Yeah, his movies are mostly very slick.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels. Frankly, it feels really very much like Inception. It gives off Inception vibes with like the costumes and like the action scenes a bit.
Yeah, Inception wasn't very colorful as well, I believe.
Yeah, it wasn't. But, yeah, I think the thing that just
none of his films are striking when it comes to like the interplay or the use of color.
Yeah, that's why he relies so much on story.
He likes to keep it very subtle, and as we talked about yesterday, he tries to suppress everything that could distract the audience from his vision. So everything that you see on screen serves the vision. But I don't know if it always works, to be honest.
Now I have a question for you. So yesterday I talked to one of my friends about how I saw the movie, and he was like, I don't have any interest in seeing that film because, well, it's just another Nolan mindfuck film that is overly indulgent in how smart he feels and everything.
Yeah.
And he said that he would be very interested if Nolan actually makes once like a movie that was just like a drama or something. Do you think he will ever do that? Or do you think it would like turn out greatly? Just like a human drama with no like gimmick, no idea like in Inception or Tenet, no interstellar travel like in Interstellar.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, right.
If you cut out some of prestigious unexplainable elements, like plot elements, you actually would have a pretty decent drama with prestige. And in a sense, Memento is a drama as well. So
yeah, essentially that's true. But it does have, it has that gimmick with the main character being, can't remembering things.
Having amnesia.
But
for sure, if Nolan were to direct a drama,
or just a small film, yeah.
Like if Nolan were to direct a drama without any of these
elements,
complex mechanics, he would still play with time itself, like different timelines.
Probably.
He would play with future,
maybe.
past, present.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing, right? That's what I find like. What if he didn't do that? What if he did, like, for example, David Fincher did his Social Network.
Just a linear drama, you mean?
Just a linear drama, yeah, like, or something like a biopic.
Yeah,
how he would like handle that.
Man,
right?
He would be bored to death.
Maybe
he would
I
fucking
don't know.
kill himself before committing to this project, probably.
Maybe, but like, wouldn't it be cool? I mean, Finch. To be honest, Social Network is probably one of my favorite Fincher films.
It's so
even though
good.
It's so different from his other films. It's just it somehow works.
But I don't
like
think Nolan is really. Yeah.
Yeah, all that behind the scenes of like Facebook, all that shady shit. It's very interesting. It's very cool stuff, and it lends to his style very well, even if it's not a crime film technically, or has nothing to do with murder, or is like kind of like Fight Club. Sorry, my German just slipped.
The thing with Social Network is it was backed by a Suburb script.
Suburbs, yeah.
By Aaron Sorkin. And
exactly.
A drama is like, if you really want to establish a drama, you need to have a good script. Like, script is probably the most important thing in a drama. And personally, I don't think Nolan's screenwriting skills are as apt as the ones of like the people who really write dramas. And as you can see in Tenet, he's too focused on other stuff. Like, screenwriting wise, he provides actually nothing valuable.
That's why it's so interesting. If you just tried it once, how would it turn up, right?
Yeah, I expected
a thought.
Yeah, I expected to be kind of bland, really.
That's realistically speaking what would probably happen, maybe.
Because as we said, Nolan is a fucking craftsman. I don't think he likes to spend much of his time writing dialogue. He rather just lets his mind kind of go.
Have one grandiose idea to pull off.
Like, ideas are swirling in his head, and he tries to implement them all together. So he's not really bothered by writing script.
Yeah.
Well,
he does write his own script, right? But you mean like...
Yeah, that's because he needs a script for a movie.
Yeah, he needs a script, yeah. So, yeah.
And his brother kind of helps him frequently, I believe.
That's true, right?
I don't know if like Nolan's... I mean, I think we can both agree that The Dark Knight is probably our favorite film of Nolan.
I don't know. Inception is pretty good as well.
Yeah, right.
Memento I really liked.
But like, for instance, The Dark Knight, he didn't write it alone. He actually recruited
somebody who knows comic books.
Probably. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think his name is like David Goya or something along the lines.
Yeah, that could be it.
But did he write Inception on his own or with his brother?
I think so. I mean, it was like his passion project, right? Inception.
Yeah,
like the idea got declined many, many times by the studios, actually.
Yeah, right. Do you have anything else to talk about If not, I think we can finish this talk because we've been
Yeah,
talking for
maybe.
about 1 hour now.
Oh, dang. I guess we could give some final thoughts on if you would recommend the
Oh
movie.
yeah, that's a good idea. Do you plan to watch the movie again after you kind of heard the theory and um
Well, probably in the comfort of my
after,
living room. Yeah. As I said, maybe in the comfort of my living room. aka, yeah, in my house.
Alright,
With
yeah. Fair
subtitles,
enough, fair
maybe.
enough.
Because I don't care that much to see it again in the theater.
Yeah, that's
And I mean,
Hey,
I would.
but the ticket prices, they were pretty
They were
like
pretty
cheap.
okay,
They were
yeah.
pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's true. Still, I think if the next time I go to the cinema, I will see something different.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, and as for if I want to recommend the movie, um, hard to
If
say.
you're a hardcore Nolan fan,
Yeah, if you're a hardcore Nolan fan,
you undoubtedly have to see this movie. But I think the film might be
yeah,
too
if you're tired of Nolan, don't watch it.
yeah.
It's everything Nolan-esque. um,
And for a casual moviegoer, I don't think
I mean,
this movie really like fits the mold.
probably
It's
not.
really
If you're not,
demanding. It's really
it's
demanding.
it's a very demanding film. That's
Yeah.
true. So if you want an interesting experience, not necessarily one that you enjoy, I would go for it. Like if you don't want something that's just serviceable
Yeah.
or just mediocre or fine, and you know something you would forget in a day, and you want something different, then go for Tenet. Like Tenet is a unique experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Should we close this
So
talk?
I mean, technically, I just gave my final
Yeah,
words. So what were
I
yours?
agree with you. I just think even though Nolan wants the audience to see his films on the big screen, and
Hmm.
most of his films are really appealing to the majority of moviegoers. I don't think
Yeah,
Tenet is that covering, to be honest. I don't think it'll appeal to as many people as his previous films did.
probably not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, going back to Inception, which is like the obvious comparison, uh, he has really established this idea very, very, very clearly.
Grandiose.
Yeah, but
Um
like he takes like a 1 hour, like 1 hour to get to the real action, meaty, mindfuckery part, right? And all things up to that are more or less not just exposition, but like
but it happened pretty quickly in
yeah,
Tenet.
yeah, it happened very quickly in Tenet. That's why I'm like contrasting these films
Yeah.
because that's one of the big differing points of these two movies. Yeah,
Um
and something also that would not fly with the normal audience, probably.
yeah, so even though it's maybe less accessible, I'd still recommend it. I
Okay.
mean, if you
Okay, would you say you would like it? Like you always have that like option in Letterboxd. Did you say you
yeah,
liked it?
I would definitely give it a like, but
Okay,
my
not necessarily a high score,
yeah,
right?
not necessarily a high score. So what I typically do is if I give a if I rate a movie with 3 stars, um
Yeah,
I most
you
likely
don't
will
give a
like
like.
it.
Oh, you will like it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So 3 stars is like the threshold between not liking a movie and liking a movie.
okay.
And um I don't know if you noticed, but I don't rate.
You don't give half stars.
Yes,
I
yes.
know.
So it probably kind of remains in the 3-star territory. So
Okay.
yeah, it's 3 stars for me on a scale of 5.
Okay.
So what about you? Let me guess,
I
probably
would.
2.5 to 3?
Yeah, I gave it a 2.5 today or yesterday. I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah.
I might bump it up if I really just like let that theory, I guess, sink in.
Sink in, yes.
Yeah.
So 3 stars and 2.5 stars, yeah.
Yeah, so like 2.75 for any of those that are interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for listening. And
Yeah.
I think we should do this more often, right? It's pretty soothing.
It's pretty cool, yeah. Yeah, even if we have only like, I don't know, some viewers, I don't really care. It's just really nice.
Yeah. And who cares about viewers these days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plot twist, this will be your main attraction to the channel. That would be funny, like instantly blows up.
Yeah.
Right? So like if you like do the title, it's something like Tenet discussed
TENET discussed.
and then 100
all timelines revealed. Nolan exposed.
Nolan exposed. Exactly. Yeah. Everything is caps lock, of course.
Yeah, of course. But I believe like the majority of people haven't even got the chance to see this movie in theaters because theaters are mostly closed.
I mean, yeah, I guess we as a non-US people.
Damn, we're very lucky.
We are very lucky because it's also very rare that like a movie comes out in like the
the summer,
other parts of the world. No, I mean
other
like
parts of the world. Yeah, and
instead of like the US,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's weird.
Our opening was before the US. Did it even open in the US?
In some parts, yes. In some parts,
yes.
Okay. Depending on the situation of the state.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, but as of today, Tenet already garnered like 200 million at the box office.
200 million.
Yeah, which is kind of impressive, considering that.
I mean, okay, what was the box office?
200. Opening. You mean opening or the?
Yeah, no.
I don't know, but the budget was around 200 million.
Yeah, 225. I think we're both looking that up on Wikipedia at the same time.
No, I'm actually not.
Oh wow.
I knew that beforehand.
Oh, okay.
But it's fucking insane. How
it is insane.
Yeah. So have you watched Taxi Driver already?
Oh, actually, I haven't.
Okay. After you finish it, we can make a movie talk about Taxi Driver. I think there's lots of substance to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to watch it probably this week.
All right.
Yeah. So, guys, look forward to that, I guess.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. And have a nice day. Yeah, we'll see you again. Yeah, bye.